Here's why Jon Snow's true identity shocked the Seven Kingdoms. Welcome to the channel. Subscribe if you love House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, and deep dives into Westerosi lore. Let's begin. Few moments in Game of Thrones carried the same weight, shock, and seismic impact as the reveal of Jon Snow's true identity. For years, fans believed Jon was the illegitimate son of Ned Stark, a bastard raised in the halls of Winterfell but never fully belonging. He wore the title Snow like a permanent scar, shaping how he saw himself and how others treated him. But the truth was far greater and far more dangerous. Jon wasn't a bastard at all. He was the son of Lyanna Stark and Prince Rhaegar Targaryen, born in secrecy during Robert's rebellion. His real name was Aegon Targaryen, and that made him the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. This revelation didn't just change Jon's life, it shook the Seven Kingdoms to their core. It challenged Daenerys' claim, threatened the fragile alliances of Westeros, and forced Jon into an identity crisis that would define his fate. In this video, we're going to explore why Jon Snow's true identity shocked the Seven Kingdoms. We'll look at his life as a supposed bastard, the secret of his bloodline, how the reveal changed the politics of Westeros, and why the truth ultimately became a curse instead of a blessing. Let's begin. To understand the shock of Jon's true identity, we need to go back to the beginning. From the very first episode, Jon Snow was introduced as Ned Stark's illegitimate son. He was loved by Ned, tolerated by his siblings, but despised by Catelyn Stark. At Winterfell, bastards were a reminder of shame, living proof of dishonor. Jon grew up hearing whispers, feeling stays, and bearing the weight of something he couldn't control. This outsider status defined him. It shaped his humility, his empathy, and his yearning to prove himself. His choice to join the Night's Watch wasn't just about duty, it was about belonging. At the Wall, bastards, criminals, and outcasts could carve out a place for themselves. For Jon, it was a way to escape the label he carried his whole life. But while Jon believed this was his identity, it was only a mask created to protect him from the deadly truth. The real story began years earlier, during Robert's rebellion. The rebellion was sparked by what the realm believed to be Rhaegar Targaryen's abduction of Lyanna Stark. Robert Baratheon's betrothed had been stolen, dishonored, and hidden away. But the truth was far different. Lyanna loved Rhaegar, and the two were secretly wed in a union that defied both families. When Lyanna gave birth at the Tower of Joy, she knew her child would never be safe. Robert's hatred for the Targaryens was absolute. If he discovered Rhaegar's son, the boy would be slaughtered, just as Elia Martell's children had been butchered during the sack of King's Landing. As she lay dying, Lyanna entrusted the baby to her brother, Ned. With her last breath, she whispered the child's true name, Aegon Targaryen. Ned knew the boy's survival depended on secrecy, and so, he made the ultimate sacrifice, his honor. He returned to Winterfell claiming the child as his own illegitimate son, raising him as Jon Snow to protect him from Robert's wrath. This was the secret that lay at the heart of Jon's story. A secret that, once revealed, would turn Westeros upside down. Before the truth came out, Jon built a reputation defined by loyalty and sacrifice. At the Wall, he rose to Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. He united the wildlings with the Watch, facing betrayal and even death for his choices. Resurrected by Melisandre, Jon returned to fight for the living in the war against the Night King. He fought in the Battle of the Bastards, reclaimed Winterfell, and proved himself again and again as a leader who placed others before himself. Unlike many in Westeros, Jon had no hunger for power. He never wanted crowns, titles, or thrones. And this, ironically, made him more fit to rule than any who did. When the truth of his birth was finally uncovered, the world saw Jon not as a bastard, but as the one man who could unite the Seven Kingdoms. And that is precisely why it was so shocking. The truth was pieced together by two people, Samwell Tarly and Bran Stark. Sam discovered through the Citadel's records that Rhaegar's marriage to Elia Martell had been annulled, and that he had married Lyanna in secret. Bran, as the three-eyed raven, witnessed the past and confirmed the moment of Jon's birth at the Tower of Joy. Together, they revealed the staggering truth. Jon Snow was not Jon Snow at all. He was Aegon Targaryen, the legitimate son of Rhaegar and Lyanna, and therefore the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. For the audience, it was the culmination of years of speculation and hints. For the characters, it was a revelation that shifted the balance of power. Because if Jon's identity became known, Daenerys' claim was invalidated. The mother of dragons, who had sacrificed everything to reclaim her family's throne, now stood in the shadow of a man who didn't even want it. The revelation of Jon's true identity sent ripples throughout Westeros. 1. The political earthquake. The lords of Westeros had rallied to Daenerys as the last surviving Targaryen. She had dragons, armies, and the legacy of her family. But once Jon's heritage was known, everything shifted. He was not only a Targaryen, he was a Stark as well. His blood tied him to both the North and the South, making him the perfect unifying figure. Many began to whisper that Jon, not Daenerys, should rule. This planted seeds of mistrust that grew into dangerous divisions. 2. The fracture with Daenerys. For Daenerys, the revelation was devastating. She had spent her entire life believing she was destined to sit on the Iron Throne. Jon's existence undermined everything. Even if he didn't want the throne, others might force it upon him. Her relationship with Jon began to fracture. Love turned to suspicion. Affection turned to fear. In Daenerys' eyes, the truth wasn't just about blood, it was about betrayal. 3. The Stark divide. When Jon told his sisters the truth, Sansa and Arya saw it as a weapon. They didn't trust Daenerys and believed Jon's claim gave the North leverage. But this only deepened Daenerys' paranoia, pushing her closer to fear-driven rule. The revelation didn't unite the Seven Kingdoms. It divided them further. For Jon himself, the revelation was not a blessing. It was a curse. All his life, Jon struggled with the label of bastard. He fought to earn respect. But when the truth came out, it didn't bring him peace. It brought him turmoil. He was caught between two worlds, Stark and Targaryen. His loyalty to his family pulled him one way, his duty to Daenerys another. He didn't want the throne, but he couldn't deny the truth of his birthright. And worst of all, it poisoned the love he had for Daenerys. No longer just lovers, they were family by blood and rivals by destiny. The truth did not free Jon from his bastard past. It chained him to a new, heavier burden. The true shock of Jon's identity wasn't just in the revelation, it was in its consequences. The Seven Kingdoms had long suffered under rulers consumed by ambition, greed, or madness. Jon Snow, the man who didn't want power, was the one person who might have ruled justly. His bloodline made him the perfect heir. His character made him the ideal king. But the revelation didn't lead to a new age of peace. Instead, it led to mistrust, paranoia, and ultimately destruction.